While in his 20s, Lon Allison has been an effective witness of Jesus Christ for more than 45 years, and he has motivated and trained thousands of others to do the same through the simplicity of a prayer, care, share method of evangelism. I had to get that all out. Welcome back to the Harvest Show, Lon.
Thank you, Valerie.
Okay, prayer, care, and share the gospel. You were with us, and actually it was liberating, the conversation that we had with you the last time, because we learned that when we are witnessing and sharing the gospel with someone, we don't have just 60 seconds to do that. Explain it for us.
Well, the gospel is God's beautiful story of how he saves lost people, rescues them. And he places his believers in people's lives at different points to carry on that story. But we need not feel that every time we're in a conversation, we have to do the whole thing. Some places are inappropriate. Interruptions take place. So when you learn that God places you where you are in somebody's life at that moment, you may be there just to sow a seed, give a thought. You may be there to get into conversation, and you ask them if they have any spiritual interest, and they start to talk. That may be your role. We call it watering. Jesus calls it watering. Or you may be there because someone says, I just know I'm not right with God. Can you help me? And you said, yes, I can. and then we help them come to Jesus. But he brings us at different points into the journey.
But it rarely happens the way you just said. Someone says, please, I need Jesus, lead me to him.
Right.
I mean, so we can plant, we can water. God brings that increase. And you say that there's a joy that we can discover and not fear in doing so.
Yeah. We're meant to experience joy in it. Because remember, Jesus said just before he departs, he says, as the Father has sent me, so I'm sending you. So we know it's a part of our calling. And I actually teach that when we came to know Jesus, a part of the new DNA we got was the joy of telling others about him. So I believe that's in every single believer. But the fear thing comes in, which I also believe comes from the devil. Here's why I think that. I still get scared. I'm a pro at this. I have a gifting in it. I'm paid to do it. And I still get scared all the time. And one day it hit me. Why would you be scared? You have a doctorate in this stuff. Right? And so I realized something else is entering. And so I teach people, think of fear to witness just like any other temptation. And then deal with it that way. Get behind me, Satan. Jesus is in me. Lord, give me your joy. And that's when love, which is greater than fear, conquers the fear. It's the love of Jesus in me that allows my joy to share with people, even when I start out afraid.
Now, last time you were with us, you taught us a little bit of the cha-cha, which was prayer, care, share, share, share. And the first is, the sharing part is to listen, actually, to the person that you're with, to hear their story.
Our ears, one ear is listening to the person, one ear is listening to God, who promises to give us what we need, right, in every situation we're in witness. So you're listening to them, you're listening to God, and then the Holy Spirit will give you what you need to ask. It's much more about hearing from that person before we, if you will, dump our great story of Jesus on them. Terrible word, wrong verb. Dump, not the right word, before we burst with our desire. Listen, God will tie his gospel in to that person's life.
Are there any particular questions that are like good questions to ask when you're hearing someone's story?
Yeah, there certainly are. I always say this to people, don't even feel like you need to ask the spiritual questions till you've been in a conversation for 10 minutes or more, whether it's with a neighbor or a coworker or a stranger next to you on an airplane. Why? Because initial conversation is peripheral. It's, how about those Cubs? It's, oh, spring has finally come. Yes, spring has finally come. That we're connecting, but it's quite peripheral. But if you keep talking, you tend to move from peripheral to what we call personal. And it's when we get into the personal about what life is like, family issues, that now we're in the territory where asking a spiritual question is good. Here's an example. Hey, do you ever think about God as you're dealing with your life? 2, I use this one all the time, especially with strangers. Do you have any spiritual background or any spiritual interest? 3, another one. What's your own spiritual journey in life? But again, it's after you've gotten permission by moving from peripheral and now you're in personal. Yeah, so it's natural.
And you know what I love about this message? The onus or the responsibility to draw a person is the Holy Spirit's responsibility. So all we have to do is act on His leading or His prompting.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, we don't have to worry about, you know, getting out there, you know, making it happen, because He's going to help us with it, correct?
Yes. And we always, Valerie, do it by faith.
Okay.
So the fear thing will always come. You take authority over it in your mind, say, okay, I'm getting used to this, the fear thing. And then you say, Lord, here we go. So it's just like anything else. You step into your faith life to do it well. And as my wife will often say, and once you do it in witness, she calls it scary fun.
Like a roller coaster.
Yeah, because you don't know where the conversation is going to go. You don't know the background of this person, but you do start to get that joy of God. We're spot on with His will whenever we're engaging with someone who's far from Him, helping them to come what we call one step closer.
Come one step closer.
Yeah.
And that's all we really can do.
Yeah, that's all we really can do.
And you do mention the fact that in the share part, share, the second share I think it is, that our own story kind of and can communicate a lot more than a sermonette or a quick Bible study, so to speak.
Yes. And so when we talk with people or do this training, and the book talks about it as well, we'll say, you want to learn to be able to tell the story of how God changed your life, but you got to be able to do it in less than 2 minutes. And you folks would certainly understand this, because you're in conversation with people all the time. People won't listen to you go on and on and on.
Right.
So we train people to be able to tell the story of how God moved them from lostness to found in about 2 minutes.
Okay, you just said that you trained people. Is this this is a model, of course, and a system that you have in place? How can people, you know, activate this in their own churches or in their own lives?
Right. Well, of course, sorry, but the book talks about that. Secondly, we often go out and do seminars. 3, through my local church website, I actually have training, 10-minute training on videos that people can watch to learn how to do these things.
And what is that website, in case someone
The
wants
website is Wheaton Bible, which is my home church where I teach, wheatonbible.org. And all you have to do is go wheatonbible.org and then put prayer, care, share.
Okay.
With no breaks.
Well,
it'll take you right to it, all free.
Okay, we'll make sure it's up there on the website. But I wanted to ask you this. What happens when it doesn't go our way? When someone says, I'm an atheist, or it doesn't have to be all that deep. I'm not interested in your God. I don't want to hear it. That's it. End of conversation. How do you handle situations like that?
I always tell people, Valerie, that this is going to give you more joy than you've experienced in a long time. And it's going to give you more sadness than you've experienced in a long time. Like Jesus weeping over Jerusalem. We weep and our hearts break when people say, no, thank you, or I'm not interested in that right now. And that's especially if we're with friends or family, people we care about. Your heart will break sometimes. What I say to people is, when people don't want to listen to you share, you just drop back to lots of prayer and care.
And that's why you start off with prayer.
Yep. That God will break down the stronghold. Remember in 2 Corinthians, it says, the God of this world has blinded the minds of unbelievers, so they can't see the light of the gospel, which is the glory of Christ. That's why prayer starts breaking down those strongholds. But when they won't listen to us, we just drop back in prayer. When they won't listen to you, share. you drop back to prayer and care.
Wow, thank you so much, Lon, for sharing your insight with us. To connect with Lon Allison and to get a copy of Possible, well, it's like impossible, but really just possible. You can see it. Discover the joy of a prayer, care, share life. You can go to harvest-tv.com, and there we will have a link to Lon's Twitter account, Facebook page, and the Wheaton Bible.
WheatonBible.org. Prayer, care, share.
Harvest continues in just a moment.